Hi, this is MaryEllen with Portraits of Me, and today I'm coming to you with my middle grade wrap-up. In the month of May, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, making my total 8 books for middle grade May. This book is about Henry, who discovers he has magical abilities tied to the wand he was given to him by his father. But before he can ask questions or even master the art, his parents disappear and he is swept up in a grueling adventure where evil is threatening to take over the world. I gave this book on Goodreads a rating of 3 stars. I liked the story, but it wasn't engaging. I never really became invested in the characters, and I liked the world building and the magic system the most in the story. And even though this book is the first book in a series, I didn't like it enough to continue reading the series. Another book I read for middle grade May was Octobia May. This book is about an 11-year-old girl who believes Mr. Davenport, a renter at her aunt's boarding house, is a vampire. She takes it upon herself to investigate Mr. Davenport, but finds there is more to this mystery than she first thought. This book I gave a rating of 3 stars. It wasn't what I expected, not a high fantasy mystery like I first thought it was going to be. Although I liked the story, the writing didn't flow very well and it was a bit confusing. The Witch's Boy is about a boy named Ned who is known in his village as the wrong boy who lived because his identical brother Tam drowned while the two of them try to ride the river in a homemade raft. His mother is a witch and is meant to protect magic that has been in her family's care for generations. When she is called away, it is up to Ned to protect the magic. Unfortunately, a bandit king is after it and he kidnaps Ned, who absorbed the magic and hopes to extract the power for himself. I really enjoyed this story and I gave it a rating of 4 stars. Great story concept, and I liked the main character. The story was intriguing from the beginning to the end, but I felt the story dragged just a little too long in areas, and the ending was a bit of a disappointment to me. However, I thoroughly liked the overall story of The Witch's Boy. The Book Jumper is about a teenage girl who learns that her family has the ability to jump into books and can interact with the characters within. She discovers this gift is more than just for fun. Her family must also secure the story's integrity. It seems an easy task until she realizes there is someone stealing ideas out of stories, which interrupts the story's timeline or even halts the story altogether. In order to put things right in the book world, she must find the thief and confiscate all the stolen ideas. I gave The Book Jumper a rating of 4 stars. This book was a highly anticipated read for me, and I was not disappointed. I love the characters, the mystery, and the book world. The story was multi-leveled enough to keep the pace throughout the whole book, which kept me reading with engagement to the very end. I am so glad I read this book for middle grade May. The Folk Keeper is about a girl named Corina who has decided to become a folk keeper in order to escape doing manual labor in the orphanage she lives in. But in order to do this, she must disguise herself as a boy because only boys can be folk keepers. Her job as folk keeper is to keep the folk content so they don't perform mischievous acts upon the household. All is well until an old man comes looking for her and who wants to bring her back to his estate to raise her as a gentleman. She isn't too interested unless she can keep her current title as folk keeper for the estate. Thus, her adventure begins and Corina soon finds out that there is more to this act of kindness given to her than she could have possibly imagined. I rated this book 4 stars. This book was not what I expected, but it surpassed what I thought this book would be about. I loved almost every minute of reading about Karina. I was a bit disappointed in the ending, but that didn't deter me from rating it 4 stars. It was worth the read, and I would definitely recommend it to those who like old lore fairy tales. For this next book, we just have to take a minute to look at these beautiful covers. Aren't they gorgeous? Fairest of All highlights the Queen's origin story and shares what she was like before she became known as the Evil Queen. The Queen, the daughter of a mirror maker, captures the eye of the king and he marries her. Together they seem the ideal family until the Queen discovers one of her father's mirrors in her room. Try as she might, she is drawn to the mirror and the ghostly figure beckoning to her from within. This was definitely a 5-star book. I loved this book. I love villains, and as I read this book, I kept wondering what was going to make the Queen turn from good to evil. Yes, I was rooting for her to stay good, even though I knew she wasn't going to overcome the temptation. To me, that makes for a very great story. I would definitely recommend this book to those who love beginning stories or love fairy tales. This one won't disappoint. Tuck Everlasting is about a 10-year-old girl named Winnie who stumbles upon a young man drinking from a hidden water source. When she asks him for a drink, she discovers his secret. In order to make her understand the complexity of such a secret, his family kidnaps her and takes her to their farm where they explain in more detail the story surrounding the hidden water source. Once they share their story, Winnie has to decide whether she'll keep their secret. I gave this book 5 stars. Oh goodness, this book really caught my imagination from the opening sentence to the very last word. I loved the simplicity of it, but also the complications as well. The story kept me wondering what Winnie would ultimately decide, and boy, I was both disappointed and happy with the ending. This book also made me think about myself and what I would have done in that same situation. This book shares Nettie and Nellie's early childhood from when they were taken from their home in 1910 to when they boarded the orphan train. The girls cannot understand why they were taken from their parents and continue to hope they'll be reunited with them. The story takes you on their adventure west and the hardships they endured before finding their forever home. I really liked this book and gave it a rating of 5 stars. I absolutely loved the story of Nettie and Nellie. My only criticism was the point of view. The story was told through Nettie's viewpoint, and I thought the voice sounded too mature for a 5 or 6-year-old. But the story was simple, engaging, and it kept me reading to the very end. I really enjoyed participating in Middle Grade May, and I'm so happy that I was able to read such wonderful books as these 8 ones I just shared with you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you stopping by and hope to see you in my next video. Until then, bye!